Hey everyone, welcome back. Welcome to new and improved Meriden. We've got the camera. We've not got the hay fever. Let's go. Yes, so today I was wanting to talk about monk mode and what I've been, or what my experiences with it have been. So monk mode is basically just trying to live more like a monk, and when your mind's clearer, when you've not got all these sort of pleasures in your life, then you're able to think a lot clearer about what you want to be doing, and it's just about the stuff that's really important to you. So stuff like cold showers, obviously it's unpleasant, but when you sort of make that commitment every day to do something like that, that is, yeah, it's uncomfortable and is the harder thing to do, then it sort of tees you up for the rest of the day to perhaps make the harder decisions in your life as and where you need to. So perhaps where you choose to work for another hour instead of just going off and, I don't know, relaxing or pursuing happiness, pursuing pleasure. So, first thing I probably would say is that these sort of the habits you maybe see online, get up at 4 a.m., you got to do the hardest thing first, you got to take your cold showers. All these things are really good, but you should understand why you're doing them. Because if you don't, then it might probably just take a few days or a week, and you'll give up because you're not seeing any immediate results. These things aren't going to make you a millionaire overnight. It's about small habits that over time, over months and years, will snowball into making helping you to make better decisions. Mm. So you don't even need to get up at 4 a.m. Well, not at the minute, but don't just get up for the sake of getting up at 4 a.m. If it's just it is agony, you just having to drag yourself out of bed, then do 5, do 6, do half 6. Just make sure it's the same time every day. I think that's the most important thing. Getting up at the same time every day, and making sure that you're doing the hardest things first to make sure that you do them and that you don't push them back until they're pushed to tomorrow and then next week and then you never ever do them. That's the sort of things that you need to take in mind. Ask yourself why you're doing these things and why it is that million or very successful people do these habits and why these habits help them to become successful. I think that's what monk mode should be about at the end of the day, giving you these better habits that maybe other people think you're crazy, but if that's what it takes, then that's what it takes. So yeah, it can be maybe a little bit challenging to completely change your life overnight. So I'd say do these things one at a time. You know, do the easier things, like maybe taking a cold shower is easier than talking in front of a camera, for instance, or doing cold approaches. Like this stuff will come, but do the easier stuff first. The stuff that you can easily substitute out of your life. And as I was saying, when you take cold showers, it builds self-discipline. So when you get these little victories, then you're much more confident to go for the harder difficulties and so on and so on and so on until you completely change your life. So I'd say that's a good way to go about it. Mm. But it shouldn't be about the number of days that you've done it for. After a while, you should start losing track, if that makes sense. So, for example, something like NoFap. After maybe the 45-day mark, like just rub out your tally. I think if you think that getting to day 90 is going to magically change everything, once you get to day 90, it's just your brain will clear, you'll be able to live in like Limitless, the film Limitless. that I don't, and that's not how it works. It's not the getting to day 90. That's the point. It's being able. It's not going onto these websites anymore. Couple. But yes, it doesn't matter how many days you've been doing it, because I think it's. I think that's. It's not a very helpful mindset to be thinking, I'm done with this, I'm never going to do it again, never ever ever going to do it again. You know, humans aren't machines. I think having the mindset of inevitably at some point in the next 60 years, it might happen again. You don't have to go back to the way you were, but it might happen in a moment of temporary weakness. I think that's a better mindset, where it's not going to happen today, it's probably not going to happen tomorrow, and you just take it one day at a time. That's a lot easier than thinking, I need to get to day 90, and I think if you just stop stressing about it so much, at least after a while, I don't know. I think that the more you think about it, then obviously the more chance there is something is going to go wrong. And that's a good point. If you can just get it into your daily habits and your routines, and to the point where you don't really need to think about it anymore. Maybe it's just an image or an impulse comes into your head, and you can just sort of sort it aside and move on with your day. That's the point where you want to get to. That's where you want to be aiming for. You want all these habits to just become part of you after a while. You don't need to pick all of them. Just pick the ones that work for you. I think that's the best thing to do. I wonder why it was only going off last night and this morning, not during the night. Very suspicious. Goddamn haters trying to shut me down. Anyway. But one thing that I think is very important to take in mind before starting monk mode, and this is a thing that sort of crept up on me the last few days, is that when you remove all these big dopamine hits, it takes time for your brain to adjust. So if you remove all your sort of old pleasures in life, then your brain will start looking for new ways to become obsessed or become addicted, and to feel that it's doing the right thing. So the stuff I was working on, I was working on YouTube, making YouTube videos. I was working on cold approaching. I was working on cold approaching. These things then became my new obsession. Okay, I've got to upload a quality 20-minute video every day. If you're not cold approaching somebody every day, you're a loser. You're a loser. And then these things become your new addictions. You understand that as much as I'm not sure to what extent being purposeful and being calm can sort of coexist. But I've definitely not found the balance quite yet. But it is important to just take things slowly. Obviously, if you are working, especially at the start, if you are working 10 hours a day and you're passionate, that's great. I think especially at the start, when you're just figuring things out, and just take it slowly before these things take a hold of you. And it's like it's like smokers, when they quit smoking, then they move on to food, and they become fatter, become bigger. See, they've just traded in their session for smoking for the session to food. And obviously, having an obsession about something is good, but it's just control and moderation overall things. I mean, that's why you're probably looking into monk mode, because you wanted some calmness and some moderation. So, unbridled obsession is bad. You know, emotional content and thumos are good, and that's what you should be aiming for. So, I'm going to end it there for today. But, you know, especially remember to just take some time out, not even just meditating, just time during the day, just to relax and collect your thoughts, and don't run before you can walk. I think that's the important thing. Don't be Icarus. So yeah, so let me know in the comments below if you've had any other interesting experiences with monk modes and how you're liking the new camera setup. So till next time, just keep growing.